people say IoT. Okay, even our principal HOD has told about a good number of applications about IoT. So just to see how much of you're interested, we'll just go into, just open up a browser, open the website, say menti.com. It is on the, uh, you can see it on the screen, www.menti.com, and it'll ask for a code. Give the code as 3147062. 3147062. Immediately you give the number, it'll ask for a question. You can give your answers there. What do you think of IoT? You can submit multiple times. None of your names will be displayed. It is quite anonymous. Okay, so feel free to give your answers. What do you think of IoT? Even whatever your HOD has said, you can reflect upon those things also. What do you think about these three terms? I want students to open a browser, okay, and type in www.menti.com, use the code, okay, use the code. I'll just type the address for your reference in the in your chat window. I'm just typing the website is menti.com. The code is 3147062. I given the code as well as the website. If you want you to open a browser, use the website and give the code. Fine. So we have our first friend who has given connecting, simplifying, comforting, okay, intriguing, digital, essential, attack, attack on Titan. Okay, fine, good. Attack on Titan. Okay, internet-based things. Okay, conditioning. Okay, nice, nice, nice. Another artificial world. Smart things. Good. 6 members have responded so far. I want at least half of the participants, learners available here can interact. Just give an answer. Just, you can give whatever, because it's quite anonymous. I cannot see who is answering. Okay, a lot to study. You're finding it difficult to cope up. Okay, One Piece. Okay, Demon Slayer. I don't know how Demon Slayer is connected with IoT. Fine. Okay. Um, Sensors, excellent. Okay. So more people are just giving in their answers, their views. Exchange data within. Okay, comforting, excellent. Life becomes easier, of course. Smart inventions. Okay. Mm, okay. So for 18 students have exchange data within. Embedding with sensor, interesting. Okay. Tracking daily work. More than tracking, it is helping with our daily work. Wireless networks. Okay, good. Advanced, important. Okay, artificial intelligence, robots. Okay, manipulation. Very nice. I can see around 27 of our friends have interacted. Mainstream. Okay, so we can continue with our session now. The session, this tab is open actually. You can give it even afterwards also. Okay, so I know both of you have given almost, you have covered the entire aspects of IoT. Fine. Good. I'm just getting into the slide. Okay. So this is the actual workshop title: Sensor Technologies for IoT Applications. Okay, so whenever you say IoT, it is having three words: Internet of Things. Okay, three words are there. Okay, we have three words here. One is the Internet. Okay, so one is an Internet. Then we have another thing is things. Okay, so what we mean by things is you have different entities all around us. Okay, that is all the things are there. That's we call it as things. Okay, you call those things, those entities as things. For example, as HOD told, your wearable devices, AC, washing machine, whatever be the appliances around us. Okay, all these are, we can call it as things, and all these things are connected. That is a very important thing. We do share a lot of things, right? But particularly we are using Facebook, we are using Instagram, we share our status. In a similar manner, these entities also share each other things. Okay, that is possible with internet. Via internet it is going to share. So that is what is IoT, Internet of Things. And this is achieved by means of a good number of sensors. So we're going to see here what are the sensor technologies for IoT applications. Fine. Okay. So we'll just see a scenario. Okay. Imagine you are in the office. You came to office and you observe that you have suddenly it reminds to my mind that I have forgot to switch off the AC. I came to office, but I just remind that I forgot to switch off the AC. Okay. So if it is the normal situation, so it will be a very difficult thing. Okay. So the power consumption and all other factors will come. But now we have the spark, we have the IoT. Okay. What happens with IoT? This communication is going to be achieved with a small mobile app. So you can just open your mobile. All of your mobiles are connected to the internet. You can just launch the home automation app, identify whether your AC is switched on or off. You can monitor, you can see what is the status. Okay, so you can see what is the status, you can monitor what is the current signal that is coming. Then if you want, you give a control action, whether you want to switch it on or switch it off. Okay, so all these things are possible because of Internet of Things. Okay, so that's everything. So basic requirement is your devices will be connected to the internet. Your devices will be connected to the internet, and your mobile is also connected to the same network. So via mobile you can control your AC. So that's the situation of IoT, Internet of Things. Fine. So Internet of Things is shaping the way we live our lives. IoT is shaping the way we live our lives. So now, what is the advantage of using IoT? So you can communicate with any device, you can communicate with anybody, any service, any business, okay, any place. All these things has been possible because of IoT. Fine. Okay. So this person, he is the person, pioneer, who has actually coined this term. Kevin Ashton is the one who has coined this term, Internet of Things, way back in 1999. Okay, so now we are in 2020. Way back in 1999, Kevin Ashton coined this term, Internet of Things. Okay, so what is basically Internet of Things? As you all told, as HOD told, it is basically we have different objects. All these objects are connected together. Okay, all these objects are connected together via a network. What are the things you have? You have some electrical appliances, some appliances are there, some sensors are there, the integrating software is there, technology is there, a communication aspect is there. Therein, these devices transmit and receive data. Okay, So basic definition of your okay. So it's the connected objects and devices that are equipped with sensors, softwares, and other technologies that allow to transmit and receive data. Okay, so that's the beauty of IoT. So we'll see some more examples and get to an understanding of these IoT. So imagine a smart home. Imagine a smart home. Immediately when your alarm turns on, okay, immediately when your alarm turns on, say your window door opens and closes. Okay, so it opens. So to allow ventilation, immediately use when the alarm. So this is connected to the internet. This is connected to the internet. And imagine immediately your coffee is ready. Your coffee is ready. Your automatic coffee vending machine is switched on. It prepares your coffee immediately because many people have the habit of taking coffee when they start their day. Okay, and imagine your water heater is also getting on. Okay, so that's thing. So this is a smart home. Okay, so these are all devices. These are all called as devices. So your alarm is a device. Your coffee vending machine is a device. Your window is a device. Okay, so these are all what I mean by things. This is what is called as things. All these things are connected to the internet. All these things are connected to the internet. Okay, so what happens essentially, if you see, these are the different things, whether it can be a television, it can be your washing machine, it can be a car, a door handle, whatever we think. Okay, so it is going to continuously emit data. Okay, it is going to continuously emit data. This data is going to be inside a cloud. Okay, so here whenever we say internet, we use a term called cloud. It's something like your cloud. Okay, so we say I'm on cloud 9. Okay, in a similar manner you have a cloud, okay, which is going to collect all this information. Okay, it is going to collect all this information. And basically what is going to act upon these devices is that all these devices, to make it smart, you're going to have something called as sensors. Okay, all these devices are going to have something entity called as sensor. Okay, basically to sensor means it is to sense, to make sense. Okay, so sensor is nothing but it has something to sense the physical change. Okay, it may be a rotation of the drum, it may be the type of cloth in a washing machine, it may be the type of system that is available in your car, or it may be the door handler. Okay, all these are going to be connected with the sensors. This sensor is going to give away those data information, which is given to the internet, nothing but the cloud. Okay, it is going to share the data with the cloud. Okay, in the cloud, what we do is that we process the information. We process the information, and here we go. We are having the control action. Okay, so suppose your AC has to be switched on or switched off. Okay, so based on those corrective actions, so you are applying trigger. Okay, this is not only for normal thing. So creating an actionable item, one thing for controlling, and second thing, if it fails also, if the system fails also, you need to apply trigger and give appropriate controls. Okay, that's the processing thing. And further, to facilitate processing, we can apply machine learning and AI algorithms, machine learning and AI algorithms to make the system more autonomous, to make the system to think on its own. Okay, you're trying to give a vision to the systems. That's why a very beautiful term, they call it as computer vision. You're trying to give vision to computers. Computers don't see, right? They are normal things. So you are trying to give them a vision by giving them the logic to identify things. Okay, so that is done by using machine learning, artificial intelligence, and good number of algorithms. So nowadays the talk of the town is deep learning. Okay, all these are going to help you to do this process. That's the core of the thing. Okay, how it is going to do, we'll see. Okay, so what would be the benefits of such a technology? What would be the benefits of such a technology would be, so it is efficient resource utilization, because Even if you have resources, all these are connected via internet, so you will be using them efficiently. Second thing, of course, it reduces the human effort. It enhances the way humans work. Okay. Third thing, it saves time. Okay. And we can develop lot of artificial intelligence using IoT. And a very important factor is the improved security. Okay, improved security. Fine. So before we actually diverge into IoT, we can just broadly classify IoT into two types. One are called as general devices. Whatever the appliances I told you, they are all called as general devices. Okay. The second part is the sensing devices. These two go hand in hand. You have the general devices, you have the sensing devices. Okay. So the general devices are governed by the sensing devices. These sensing devices interact with your cloud or the internet by sharing the data. So there's a broad thing. You have a general devices and sensing devices. What do you mean by general devices? Okay. So this is a cloud. Okay. This is a cloud. I have a cloud here. Okay. So you have, these are all the general devices. I can just put, these are all the general devices. You have the general devices. Okay. So it may be your washing machine, your refrigerator, your oven. Okay. So all these are general devices. Okay. So these general devices, whenever they send a data, they send a data. Okay. That's via something called as gateway. Okay. Using gateway, they're going to communicate with the cloud. They're going to communicate with the cloud with via a gateway. So this is going to be the internal level. So this is a gateway which is going to permit the signals from our devices to the cloud, from the devices to the cloud. The same way this is actually achieved. It is actually achieved by means of sensors. By means of sensors, these actually provide the signal. Okay, so the general devices via the sensors, it is going to communicate to the cloud, and this communication is achieved via the gateway. Okay, when I mean by communication, what is the method of communication? What is the method of communication? It can be a wired or it can be a wireless. It can be a wired or it can be a wireless. Okay, so all these are the way in which you communicate to the cloud. So you have a wired method and a wireless method, wherein it mostly we go for a wireless method. Okay, so wireless method, it communicates. The entry has to be via this gateway. The entry has to be via this gateway. You have good number of sensors employed for this purpose. Okay, you can interrupt me anytime if you have any doubts. Fine. Okay. Now, what we are actually seeing in this workshop is these systems know whenever you have these general devices, in order to communicate with the cloud, you require some sort of platform where you can work with this. Okay, to you need the sensors to be interfaced with your actual physical phenomenon, and you need some kind of tool or a platform for these devices to interact with the cloud. Therein when your comes your Arduino. Okay, so Arduino is a platform, because normally if you go for a normal microcontroller, you need to do good programming. You need to have very big programming. Okay, you need to see the instruction set. It will be very cumbersome. Okay, but Arduino makes the entire work simpler, and main advantage of Arduino, it is open source. Main advantage of Arduino is it is open source. So you can develop any kind of sensor. Any kind of sensor you can easily interface with Arduino, and the programming, of course, it's very minimal. Even a student who doesn't have a programming sense can easily do or easily work with Arduino. That is the beauty of Arduino. Okay, so Arduino is a platform which will be helping you to connect sensors to all the general devices, thereby interacting with the cloud. So this is a very excellent tool. It's called as Arduino. The second tool we're going to see in this workshop is MATLAB. Okay, the originally it is called as Matrix Laboratory. This is yet another software. So this is a hardware. Arduino is an hardware as well as some software. This is an hardware and software. MATLAB is basically a software. You can use any data acquisition devices. You can use any data acquisition devices. We call it as DAC. Okay, you can use any data acquisition device. By a means, you can interface it to your MATLAB. Okay, from there you can communicate with the cloud. So MATLAB is basically a software using which you can program it. Again, MATLAB also requires basic programming. MATLAB actually follows Unix platform. MATLAB follows Unix platform. You need to program. You need to write the code again. Compared to Arduino, it's bit complex. Okay, so MATLAB. So there, I'm just put forthing another interesting area that's called as LabVIEW. Okay, so LabVIEW is Laboratory Virtual Instrumentation Engineering Workbench. Laboratory Virtual Instrument Engineering Workbench. Okay, so this LabVIEW, it's actually developed by National Instruments. So what is the advantage of LabVIEW is that, see, in Arduino also you require some amount of coding. In MATLAB, of course, you require extensive coding. What happens in LabVIEW is your Arduino and MATLAB, you call it as text-based programming. You call it as text-based programming. What I mean by text-based programming? In text-based programming, you'll be writing a code. You'll be writing a code to execute a particular operation. That's called as a text-based programming. What is importance in a text-based programming? The syntax is very, very important. If the syntax goes wrong, then your program will flop. Okay, so both Arduino and MATLAB, you require a program to be written. You need the syntax of it, you need to write. Okay, that's the thing. What LabVIEW does is that LabVIEW comes under a category called graphical programming. It's a very beautiful term, graphical programming. So it will be like a pick and place. Suppose you want to implement a logic. Say you want to do a face print recognition. Okay, you can just pick and place the items. You don't require, again, you require the logic, but you don't require syntax or a very big programming code. Okay, so for example, you might know when you're developing a C code to develop a graphical user interface, what is the amount of coding required? But in LabVIEW, this is going to take place just in a fraction of a second. Just in a fraction of a second, you can develop your front panel, how your instrument will look like. You can, the advantage of LabVIEW is you don't require the syntax. You can easily make the things work. And beauty of it is this can be easily convertible into an executable file. You can connect it to the internet very easily without much difficulties. You can connect to the internet. You can use any platform. That is the beauty of it. In all your test-based programming, whenever you want to design something for a particular application, it is highly platform independent. Platform independent sense, suppose one day you're using a serial communication, second day you are using a Ethernet communication, third day you're using a Bluetooth communication, fourth day using a Zigbee communication. In all the communication, your protocols is going to change. You're going to change the coding. You need to include the appropriate files. Include files you have to change, but that is not the case with LabVIEW. It is completely platform independent. You can use it for any platform. Okay. Of course, there is a provision in LabVIEW to write your C coding also. In your LabVIEW, you have an option to write your C coding also. That is the power of LabVIEW. Okay, it makes you all these basic things to be more easier so that you can more concentrate on your application. That's the advantage of having a LabVIEW. And this is the inside. Coming to the cloud side, we have different clouds actually. As principal told, HOD told about Microsoft Azure. This is ThinkSpeak, this is IoT. This will be dealt with dealt by ma'am. And also I will tell you about this Google thing, Firebase. Okay, Google has a IoT cloud. So wherein you can send your data and retrieve, it's called as Firebase. We'll just see how a Firebase works also later. Okay, so these are the cloud platforms which we can use for our purpose. Okay, it's free. It's free with a basic account. You can just access these things online. You require a basic address to your data, and you can implement it very easily. That too, implementation in LabVIEW is going to be damn easy. Okay, so that's where your LabVIEW and MATLAB comes into picture. Fine. Okay. So before we actually go into the content, I want to share you a video. Okay. We'll see a small video that's about IoT. And I'll be asking you questions. Okay. Very simple questions. Watch the video carefully. I can ask question from anything. See, I can tell what is the color of this particular thing. Even that will be a question. So watch the video carefully. We will have questions. See the time, the duration, anything can be a question. Okay, anything can be a question. Okay. Everyone is able to get the audio, right? Everyone is able to get the audio. Just type in a S in the chat if you're able to hear the video. No, audio is not coming. Okay. Just a minute. Okay.
Embedded in the physical things.
Is it audible now? Just now I just
That surround
yeah.
us.
Thank you. Thank you, friends. Okay.
Each transmitting valuable data. Data that lets us better understand how these things work and work together. But how exactly do all these devices share such large quantities of data? And how do we put that information to work?
Okay. Just to give a peek of, I'll ask the questions at the last only, but just now we have seen a small clip. Okay. A car passing. Can you tell me how many traffic lights were there? Can you tell me how many traffic lights were there just now? Thank you, Vidyashri. She has given the correct answer. Okay, good. You can just copy and paste. Excellent. Of you. Very good. Very nice. Thank you. Aditya, Tejar Aditya. So you have two. So you can see what is the kind of question I will ask. So based on that, you should be ready to answer. Fine. Other questions I'll ask only after the video is there. So watch the video carefully. I'll be asking questions from the video. Fine. Okay, we'll continue.
Whether we're improving the production of a factory, giving city residents real-time updates on where to park, or monitoring our personal health, it's the common Internet of Things platform that brings this diverse information together and provides the common language for the devices and apps to communicate with each other. The process starts with the devices themselves, which securely communicate with an Internet of Things platform. This platform integrates the data from many devices and applies analytics to share the most valuable data with applications that address industry-specific needs. Let's start with a simple example, a car. After taking a long road trip, Rebecca notices that her check engine light has come on. She knows that she needs to have her car looked at by a mechanic, but is not sure whether it's something minor or something that needs immediate attention. As it turns out, the sensor that triggered Rebecca's check engine light monitors the pressure in her brake line. This sensor is one
Hope you're watching.
of many monitoring processes throughout the car, which are constantly communicating with each other. A component in the car called the diagnostic bus gathers the data from all these sensors, then passes it to a gateway in the car. The gateway integrates and sorts the data from the sensors. This way, only the most relevant diagnostic information will be transmitted to the manufacturer's platform. But before sending this organized data, the car's gateway and platform must first register with each other and confirm a secure communication. The platform is constantly gathering and storing thousands of bits of information from Rebecca's car and hundreds of thousands of cars like hers, building an historical record in a secure database. The manufacturer has added rules and logic to the platform. So when Rebecca's car sends a signal that her brake fluid has dropped below a recommended level, the platform triggers an alert in her car. The manufacturer also uses the platform to create and manage applications that solve specific issues. In this case, the manufacturer can deploy an application on the platform called the Asset Management System. This application oversees all of their customers' cars on the road, as well as all the parts in their warehouses. It uses the data from Rebecca's car to offer her a potential appointment time to service her car, directions to the nearest certified dealer, and a coupon for the service. What's more, the app will ensure that Rebecca's brakes are covered under her warranty, that the correct replacement part is ordered, and then sent to the dealership so it is ready when she arrives. But the manufacturer's analysis does not stop there. They have also deployed a continuous engineering application that tracks not only Rebecca's car, but hundreds of thousands of others, looking for ways to improve the design and manufacturing process of the car itself. If the same problem in her brake line crops up in a critical number of other cars, the manufacturer uses applications custom built for the automobile industry to pinpoint the exact problem. They can see if these cars were made at the same factory, used the same parts, or came off the assembly line on the same day. So what do all these pieces add up to? Streamlined inventory management for the dealer, a better, safer car from the manufacturer. And for Rebecca, it means she can be back on the road faster and get to where she's going safely. All thanks to the Internet of Things.
Okay. Fine. So we have our questions now. So what is the duration of the video? That's the first question. What is the duration of the video? Okay, Vidyashri is very sharp. 3:30. Okay, Ketan Rao is also. Roshan is perfect. Roshan, Srinath, very good. So all of you observed the correct timing of the video. Excellent. The timing of the video is 3 minutes and 38 seconds. Excellent. Very nice. Okay. Okay. Your second question now. When they're displaying about the IoT, the art rate was displayed. 3 values of art rate were displayed in the video. Can you just mention those values? 3 values of art rate that came from the wearable device. Excellent. Which is Tree, Nudan, okay, Bhumika, very nice, very nice. So 68, 69, and 70, very good. So all of you have good observation. Okay. Okay. What is the first example they dealt in detail? What is the first example they dealt in detail? They were explaining about one particular example. First example. What is that example? What is the example? What is the example actually they have taken up for this explanation? What is the example? Okay, it's the car. That is the one they dealt in detail. Okay, exact. Raji Amrita. Thank you. So sensor in the car, exactly. Okay. Now, they mentioned about a component in the car which gathers data and transfers the data to the gateway. A component in the car which gathers data and transfers the data to the gateway. Can you guess what is the name? Excellent. Ketan Rao, very nice. So it is the diagnostic bus which is going to gather the data and transfer it to the gateway. Okay. Okay. So whenever the data is sent, okay, before sending the data, what is the first step? From a device, the data has to be sent to the cloud. What is the first step before sending the data? What is the first step before sending the data? What is the first step before sending the data? What do you do? Any one of you have a smartwatch like this? How many of you have? I'm using a MI Smart Band. Okay, you might have a band. Okay, so what is the first step you do whenever you want to connect with your mobile phone? What is the thing you do? what is the thing you do first? You have my phone. I have, okay, Bluetooth. Of course, you have Bluetooth. I have Bluetooth. How can I connect with this phone? It's via boot. Exactly, Arish. Excellent. Authentication that comes after registration. First, you have to register the device. Then you do the thing called as pairing. Then it is authenticate. That is the product that is connect. Okay. So it goes with registration basically, and registration in turn governs about authentication. Excellent. Nice, Arish. And next question is, in this example, who uses the IoT platform to create apps and deploy them? In this example, discussed in the video, who uses IoT to develop apps? Who uses IoT to develop apps? Excellent, Aditya. So car manufacturers, excellent. Again, Ketan Rao. Okay, fine. Last three questions. I don't know whether you have noticed it or not. The car repair, name of the car repair center. Name of the car repair center. Excellent. Okay, excellent. Roshan, Nudan, very nice. It's called as the ABC Motors. Fine. You have kept. And last two questions. And who is the maker of this video? The video is from, it was displayed last. IBM. Okay, Think Academy is perfect. Okay, Think Academy as well as IBM. Excellent. And the last question. Thank you, Vidyashri Pavan, for interacting. The last question is, when the video was running, I paused for a moment. Can you tell what is the time I paused it? I paused the video and asked whether you're following. Can you just tell me what is the moment I paused the video? Near one, okay. Praveen Kumar, okay. 132. Almost everyone is near. So it was around 123. Around 123, I just passed and I used it. Fine. So very nice. So all of you were following the content of the video. Fine. We'll continue. We have a game at the last. Be ready for that also. Okay. Okay. These are the common IoT challenges. Actually, this is the where, as persons from CAC, you can see a potential way of doing things. Okay. One is the communication protocol for the devices, designing communication protocol or enhancing the communication protocol that is available. We have different communication methods, namely it is wired and wireless strategies, but the protocols is going to be there, which is going to be acting. So we need to look into those protocols. This is a challenge. Okay, so you can look into what are the protocols available. I will just list you the different protocols that are used for IoT, and you can work with these protocols. Second is accurate and robust sensor design. This is another very big challenge. Your sensors has to be accurate, it has to be robust, because it should be able to withstand different physical conditions, it should be able to interact. Okay, so accurate and robust sensor designs. And third one is a powerful backend service. Okay, so that's where your thing comes, cloud computing. Okay, all the data processing you need to apply on the data and interact with the data. So powerful backend servers for data processing. These are some of the common IoT challenges. I'll be more specific. I'll just give you more interesting challenges also. Okay, so coming to protocols, the protocols that are used to interact for your devices with your gateway. Okay, the devices interact with your gateway via these protocols. So the most preferred one is MQTT. Okay, MQTT is a messaging queue transmission thing protocol. It's basically for IoT data. It's purely for IoT data. It's fast, it's light, and it's basically a messaging app, almost like your WhatsApp. It's like your WhatsApp messaging. Okay, that's mainly used for IoT data. So this is another one, LW M2M. Okay, so the lightweight M2M, and this is for light device management. This is purely for data. This is for device management as well as IoT. can use very minimal device management. Also, we can use it also for IT. So this is fast, light, but this is a bit structured. It is a bit structured. It is not, whereas the MQTT is not at all structured. Okay, it is unstructured, whereas lightweight M2M is structured, and this is OMADM. Okay, this is a bit complex, and this morely these two actually more concentrate on device management. And first one is for mobile, OMADM, and TR069 is basically for other communications. Okay, for mobile alone, you have OMADM, that's a standard protocol, and TR069 for other things. Okay, it is a fixed, it is the most complex, most structured, and more thing platform. What is the advantage of having a structured platform is that whenever you need to go for some proprietary softwares, or you need to do a reset, all those things are inbuilt into it. Okay, whereas here you don't have that option, MQTT. Okay, so what is actually MQTT? Have you heard of this term MQTT? It's almost like a sharing thing. Okay, so MQTT, I'll just tell you the basic concept how this. So this is the most widely used protocol for IoT application. Apart from MQTT, they also use HTTP. All of you aware of HTTP, the normal web server. Okay, so this is hyperterminal. This is the normal one you all know. So MQTT is the one. Okay, basically what is the concept of MQTT is, basically you'll have a board kind of thing. Okay, you have a board kind of thing. Suppose a client comes in. Okay, he can just publish. So this is called as PubSub concept. PubSub. Okay, wherein a client can publish a data into the, it is called as a topic. Say it is a post. Okay, something like your sticky notes, it just post like a notice board, you can make a post, and whoever wants the data, he can just subscribe. So one person is publishing, another person is subscribe. So the entire board is going to act as a broker. The entire board is going to act as a broker. Fine, it is going to act as a broker. So that is, you need not know who is your, so it's like you published once, you do not have any interaction with the person who is going to get it. Okay, so this is your send operation, this is your get operation. Okay, so one is going to do the publishing thing, another one is going to subscribe and receiving it. So there will not be any interaction with the clients. There is no need of any interaction with the clients. So the entire platform is going to be like a broker. It is going to receive the data, publish it, the other person is going to subscribe and get the data. So this is a basic concept of messaging. So basic thing is, in messaging you don't have a session. In messaging you don't have a session. All the other three platforms, namely TR69 or your load weight M2M, all these have session. What I mean by session is, you have a client, you have a server. Okay, so whenever the client requests a service, it initiates a service. So it will be a session, a valid session. Again, the server interacts with the thing. So you'll have a session ID. So that's a session-based protocol. Whereas MQTT is a messaging-based protocol. MQTT is a messaging-based protocol. Okay, still a better comparison about all these four in the aspect of communication. We are going to classify. So what is the first type? So MQTT is a messaging type, whereas the other three are session type. Okay, so overhead, of course, there is no overhead at all in MQTT, whereas LW has a lighter. These two are heavier overheads. Again, footprint, MQTT is very light. Okay, server load, it's very light. Data model, that's what I told. This is completely unstructured. You need to have a, you need to develop everything on your own. Okay, it does not have a perfect data model, whereas other things have a perfectly data model. Suppose TR69, it's a highly structured data model. Okay, and again, complex data model, this does not have. Okay, and dynamicness, it is not there. You need to develop proprietary softwares. Okay, so this is the one thing you have for whenever you need to do a firmware upgrade, you need to have proprietary softwares to do it, because by default it is unstructured. You don't have any thing to do it on its automatic, because if you, when you take this TR69 or OMADM, it comes with its own thing to do the firmware upgrades. Okay, So again, regarding your device manager, so it does not have any option actually. But if you use some custom software, it is possible to do it. Okay, but you need to develop it. Fine. But if you take the response time, the best one is MQTT. Okay, it's a very fast. MQTT is very fast. Comparatively, these two are slower, OMIDM and TR69. Okay, so common uses MQTT is mainly for sensors and small constraint devices. It can be used L2M, can be used for small gateways, and OMIDM particularly for mobile gateways, and TR69 for fixed gateways. So these are the different communication protocol, and the most preferred protocol for our IoT application wherever you have a sharing of data is MQTT. Okay, so all of you know about these communication strategies. Okay, these are the different communication strategies you have: Bluetooth, Wi-Fi, okay, GSM, Zigbee. Okay, so Bluetooth, can anyone tell what is the IEEE signation for Bluetooth? You have IEEE standard for Bluetooth. IEEE standard for Bluetooth is anyone can tell me? In the chat window, anyone knows? Okay, so it is IEEE 802.15.1. That is Bluetooth. Okay, and Wi-Fi is 802.11. 802.11, and Zigbee is 802.15.4. Okay, that is the thing. Okay, mostly it will be transmitting in the range of gigahertz. Say Bluetooth is in the order of 2.4 gigahertz, or okay, so it will be different range, 2.486 gigahertz. That is the different types of wireless connectivities. GSM is your normal mobile network. Your mobile network. Okay, these are the different types of connectivity. Fine. So before, okay, I'll just tell you. Fine. This is what I wanted to mainly share with you people. The top 5 challenges in IoT connectivity, as well as connectivity is concerned. Okay, these are the top 5 challenges. And again, these challenges help you as a CSC engineer to develop ideas. Okay, so first one is the signaling between instrument to instrument, between your network to the client. Okay, what is the kind of signaling? You require a two-way signaling between both. Okay, so signaling is the first aspect of challenge. Okay, so it has to be ensured that there is a dual kind of signaling in between these two. Second aspect is the security. Okay, when it comes to security, the first factor, as told by one of our friends, authorization. Okay, who is authorized to receive your data? Okay, so that comes in first, authorization. Then whenever we are moving our data, we should be see to that it is not an open network. Okay, it is not an open network. We should ensure that it is not an open network. And third thing is, we need to worry about what is the encryption. What is the kind of encryption we do with the data? That's what is going to guarantee your security. The third factor is presence detection. Suppose you have two devices which communicate via a particular medium. Suppose one of the device fails. I need to know whether the device has failed. What is the time it requires to come back again online? What is the history of it? All those things you require. So you require a presence detection. Okay. And fourth factor, of course, power consumption comes into picture. And fifth one is bandwidth. Sorry for the spelling. It's bandwidth. Okay, so bandwidth is say normally if in your room you have 10 devices which connected to the internet, that's quite good. But if you go for a global network wherein you have thousands and thousands of devices connected to the net, then each one will be sending a request, it will be collecting the data, then it should have the bandwidth is a very heavy constraint. Okay, so you can all work on these challenges to make your IoT very more powerful, more and more powerful. Okay, so before we actually go into this simple scenario, I just want you to just get back to the same Menti. I'm going to share you another question. So already 37 students have answered. Okay. So you have your second question here, which will appear in the same tab. Menti.com, use the code, same code 3147062. I have a question for you. Which of these following technologies is not used as an interface for the network? I have listed out the different technologies. You need to give your answer. Which of the following technologies is not used as an interface for the network? Which of these are not used? Okay. One student has given Ethernet. Okay. Okay. We have 2 votes so far. So 4 votes. Of course, I didn't deal with Ethernet. That doesn't mean Ethernet is not an interface for the network. See the question, it is not used as an interface. The question is not used. I'm not asking used. I'm giving term opposite. So far, 7 members have responded. We have great learners, around 120, 125 members in our group. You can give your answers. Which of the following technologies is not used as interface? You have to use the same website, same code. Okay. So 11 members have responded so far. So based on the 11 members, the maximum voting is gone for VPN. And that's the truth. Okay. So see, Wi-Fi is used for interfacing. Ethernet is also used for interfacing. Ethernet is a very, very powerful source whenever you want to reach miles together. Okay, whenever you want to reach, suppose I want to control a device over a very wide range. Okay, say I'm in Delhi, I just want to control it from Pondicherry. It's possible with Ethernet. Okay, so again with internet, Ethernet, actually we are telling the Ethernet it is going to share the data to the internet. Via the internet it is going to take place. Ethernet is a physical element that is going to achieve this internet. Okay, so Zigbee, again it is for short distance, for 10 to 15 meters. Okay, Zigbee is somewhat better compared to Wi-Fi, and Wi-Fi again you can extend it up to a good range, up to say 300 meters with proper devices, signal enhancers. It is possible. So Zigbee and Bluetooth both are very short range, 10 to 20 meters maximum. And the one that is out of this is VPN. Okay, VPN is not an interface for the network. That's a correct answer. VPN is not an interface for the network. Okay, so that's the correct answer. Thank you, friends. 17 friends have responded. So maximum voting has been given for VPN. VPN is the correct answer. So we'll have a game at the end. So please be prepared for the game also. Okay. So I'm just going to tell you a simple scenario where this IoT can be used. Okay. Assume that you have a farm. Assume that you have a farm. You want to say identify what is the moisture level. I want to see what is the moisture level. So I'm just placing some sensors. I'm having some sensors which are connected to an Arduino board or something. Okay. So these sensors actually identify the humidity level or the soil humidity level. It will identify what is the soil humidity level. So we have sensors called hygrometers, which is going to give away the changes in the soil humidity. The soil humidity is going to monitor. These signals are just transmitted from your devices to your gateway. It is given to the gateway. From gateway, the signal is conditioned and it goes to your cloud. Okay, the data goes to your cloud. From cloud, it is processing. It identifies whether the humidity level is high or low. Accordingly, it will send the information to the device controller, which is available in the local. It will send the information, the control action required to the device controller. So this is what you call it as actuators. So actuators are physical elements which actually connect with the devices to deliver the control action. Okay. For example, if you take your human body, you say that you want to pick up a pen. Okay. So your brain thinks your brain is the control center. So you have to pick this pen, right? So this picking this pen is going to achieved by a motor signal. A signal is going to come to your hand, and your hand is going to pick. So the thing that is going to send your signal is called as actuator. So motor signal that is available in your body. So that is going to, what it will do is that it will activate the sprinklers. Say the sprinklers are connected to the actuator. The sprinklers are connected to the actuator, which will ensure that it sprinkles water so that the soil has the required level of humidity. Okay, this is the complete platform. So you have your devices, nothing, and you have here devices is exactly the land which we want to monitor. So you have sensors which is going to do the purpose. The conditioned output is going to go to the gateway. From gateway, the information is going to be transmitted to the cloud. From cloud, the control action is going to be given via the actuators. From actuators, the control action is being given to the sprinklers, which ensure that the soil is good moist. Okay, so this is how your IoT comes into picture. Okay, a smart farming. You can put it as a smart farming. Okay. So IoT extensively used to lessen the burden of human beings. It has an improved response, it has a monitoring capability, it has analytical capability, and good number of devices connected via your IoT. Okay, starting from agriculture, cars, smart. Anyway, I'm going to give you specific applications also. Okay, we'll see some of the applications where we can use this IoT. Okay, so one application we are going to see is called as biometrics. Okay, all of you know about what is biometrics. So biometrics is a security-based system. Okay, whenever a person clicks on your security device, so automatically it will verify whether the person. So first thing you do for registering is the person clicks on it. As soon as it captures the fingerprint of that person. Okay, this is a fingerprint of the person. So what the information done is it extracts the features from this thing. The pattern, actually each one has a unique pattern, right? So it will do a feature extraction. It will do a feature extraction. So the feature extraction is a very unique term. Okay, I'll just tell you. Say this pen is there. All of you have your pen. This pen is visible, right? So how will I say this is a pen? So it has a long one. You can tell it with the color, the texture, the way it looks. From our childhood, we have handled this particular thing, a pen. Okay. So based on these things, you tell this is a pen. This long structure, it has a pointed nib. Okay. You tell this is a pen. In the same way, these are all called as features. So this is the one that tells your mind this is a pen. Okay. So these features you need to extract from your thing. So that is the thing that you're going to feed it into your cloud and you're going to do the processing. So feature extraction. So you'll have a feature data set. This data set is going to transmit it to the cloud. Okay. So whenever a person touches it, normally what is the thing it will have is it will verify with the database. If it is not there, immediately it will tell you the result. Additional feature would be it can again communicate with the server. It can tell, it can ask you whether you want to enroll yourself. Okay, then you can enroll it, and so to enroll that person, it should send an authentication to the owner. It should send an authentication message. A new person wants to become a member of it. So once the person gives an authentication, okay, he may join, then immediately the person entry will be registered and approved. So that is the kind of thing that is possible in IoT. And second thing is that what we have, apart from fingerprint, you have iris scan, you can have a combination of both. So all these poses good amount of challenges. Okay, this is the first application we are seeing, biometrics. So this is a smart irrigation system. This is a smart irrigation system where you are going to use Arduino as well as Raspberry Pi. So Raspberry Pi is going to act as a controller Arduino is a device that is going to act as acquiring the sensor outputs. Okay, so the thing is that I want to ensure that all these similar to the application we have seen. Okay, so these platforms have sufficient waters, moisture. Okay, that is identified by the sensor. Via the Arduino, it is going to transmit. So whenever you want to transmit via Wi-Fi, you require the module ESP8266. Okay, so via Wi-Fi, it is going to transmit the data. From the data is being transmitted to your Raspberry Pi. From the Raspberry Pi, it will give the control information. It will be giving the control information to the water pump. So it actually will go to the Raspberry Pi, will detect whether the moisture is lagging, and appropriately it will give you the triggers, and appropriately the water pump is switched on and water is available. Also, you ensure that the correct pathway requires the water. So there will be for each pathway there will be gate to control the water pumping. So you can target it to a specific location. That's a smart irrigation system. So that is achieved via your Arduino and Raspberry Pi. Fine. And of course, the another interesting application is security camera and door unlocks. Okay, so it's quite common to see. So it will check with the database whether the person is coming or not. You can get a response, and you can authorize the person to enter. Okay, also it can notify the owner a new person enters, similar to that of your fingerprint. Okay, that's security camera and door unlock applications. Again, a smart home. So you have a air conditioner, you have a lighting control, you have energy management, appliance control. The last day I'm just going to show you a simple home automation. I'm going to develop an app. Using the app, I'm going to switch on and switch off an electrical appliance. That's what I'm going to give it on the last day. Okay, smart bathroom appliances, garage door. Okay, so to make a smart home. So all these areas we can work upon. And I also told you what are the specific challenges in IoT also. Okay. So the extension of your smart home is a smart city. So extension of your smart home is your smart city. Okay. So these are some of the applications, okay, that connected with your IoT. And as of 2018, there are 23 billion devices, IoT connected devices over the network, which is about twice the population of the world. And people have ensured that by 2025, there will be around 80 billion connected devices. There will be around 80 billion connected devices. See, what is the rapid growth that is happening here? Fine. So we'll have a game now. Fine. We'll have a small game. Ready for the game, all of you? I'm just going to show a thing. So we're going to do something called as connections. Just a minute. Okay, we're going to do something called as connection. Okay. Can use a chat window for giving me answers. So this is, I'm not able to see the chat window actually. You can just tell me, this is called as connection. Can you identify what is this word? Just a minute. I'll just open it from here itself. Okay. Excellent. So it is a Bluetooth. Very good. You have something as Bluetooth. I'll just expand it. Fine. This is a Bluetooth. Good. We'll have a second thing. Can you tell what is this one? Can you guess what is this one? All of you are told it is Bluetooth. Excellent. Very good. Sendil Balaji. It is IoT. OT is operation theater, so I have put it as IoT. Okay. IoT. Okay. Cataract surgery. Cataract surgery. So most of the, see, all the questions are from what we have studied so far. Okay. So IoT. IoT is operation theater. So Sendil Balaji is correct. Third connection. Can you guess? Can you guess what does this picture indicate? Any clue? This is the name of a movie. I have striked out Madam. Okay. So this is called as sane. Okay, sane is happy mind. That's called as sane. SANE. This is sir. Sane sir. Sensor. What I was saying is sensor. Okay. So it not be so appropriate. Okay, sane sir. Okay, that's it. So you can imagine what could be the next one. Okay. Can you tell what is this one? It's quite easy to for you to see. Perfect. So it's gateway. So gateway. Fine. We're getting now into 3 words. We'll see. If you find the first two, actually the third is an animating picture that is actually giving the answer. I have not made it into a presentation. Can you guess what is that thing? Raspberry Pi. How it is raspberry comes into picture here? See, this is air. Okay, air. This is dew. This is dew. Actually, this person will be saying no. If you put it in slideshow, actually it will show you. If I put it in slideshow, I'm not able to see the comment actually, so I have just put it in this way. It's Arduino, exactly. So Arduino, Arduino, Arduino. It's Arduino. Okay, fine. Thank you. Next one, it gets a bit complex. We have seen this thing just now. Identify the word. Identify the term that we have used. Guess, guess, guess. Give me a guess. Okay, so the first letter is Mercury. How Mercury is connected with IoT? Okay, how did you say? Oh, okay, the last one is a Q. Okay, so this is M Q. Excellent, Mogana. Mogana. Thank you. QTT. TT is an injection that normally people use it for whenever you get wounded. No, so MQTT. MQTT. Okay, that's a protocol, right? MQTT is a protocol that is used for communicating with IoT. M. So M is when I have a tasty food. That's M. You have a Q. You have TT. MQTT. Very nice. Mogana. Okay. And the last one, bit tricky. You have 5 words actually. 5 words, I have used it directly. I didn't twist the words and all, I've used it directly. Can you guess? Can you guess the word? Okay, I'll just tell you. First one is a con artist. You call it as con artist. Can you guess it now? First one is con. Second one is neck. Third one is T. Fourth one is wheat. Fifth one is T. Connectivity. Connectivity. Okay, that's called as connectivity. Okay, so con artist, neck, T, wheat, T. That sorts connectivity. Thank you, Aditya. Okay, we'll get back to our slide. So almost we are completed. Thank you for your chats. So in conclusion, so IoT is the one that is paving the way of the future. Okay, you can say if you want to put the IoT as a mathematical equation, IoT is sensor plus network plus data plus services. Okay, so as a CSE person, you can concentrate on the data, how to communicate, how to make the data more uh, standard, or in the sense how to encrypt your data, security of the data. You can see how to design your network. Okay, when I tell about network, that comes to my mind is nowadays for IoT, they're using blockchain method. You are aware of blockchain. Okay, they're similar to the cryptocurrency. You have blockchain is the current method of interacting in a network. Okay, very secured network. So network, again, you can work upon the services, that is the cloud computing, what are the processing of the data you can do. And of course, with entities like Arduino, with LabVIEW, you can very easily work with sensors also. Okay, so IoT is a combination of sensor, network, data, and services, which poses a great challenge for all the engineers, whether it is a communication engineer, whether it's an instrumentation engineer, whether it's an electrical engineer, all have equal amount of options, okay, to work with. Okay, so that's IoT, which is going to be the future. Already it has started. The era of IoT has started, but I think we are very much lagging behind. See, the word IoT was coined way back in 1999. So now only we are traversing that thing. Fine. Okay. So thank you for listening. Myself, Ema Kumar. You can. This is my website. You can visit my website. I have a YouTube channel. I'm in Instagram. I'm in Facebook. Okay. So thank you. So thanks once again for the opportunity. Now I request ma'am to take upon. So ma'am will be explaining you about Arduino. So we'll give you the basics of Arduino. So which will be helpful for us to take interesting applications for the next 2 days. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you, sir. Now we'll continue with the IoT session. So first session, we saw the introduction for the IoT, and now we are going to see how to use Arduino. Okay, how to use Arduino for the applications. So here, first, to start the presentation, we'll be seeing about Arduino. Here, first, before starting the presentation, I would like to thank Sriram College of Engineering for giving us this opportunity to address you and to tell you the importance of IoT and how sensors play a main part in IoT. I also like to thank the principal, the HOD of Computer Science Department, and Shiny ma'am of CSE department, and Sweta ma'am of CSE department for taking all the initiatives for this workshop. So first, what is IoT? That has been dealt, and in your IoT, if you take means there are many parts that has to be dealt clearly. Basically, if you see means without sensors, without acquiring any data from the device. There's nothing to do with IoT. So to acquire data from IoT, you have to make use of some processing devices. Okay, some processing devices is required to get the information from the sensors, and that information it should be made as a data that is useful to actuate some other devices. These actuators will be used. So sensors and actuators play a very main part if you take the IoT. And this processing device which you're going to use should be a device which is going to be of low cost and which is compatible with all sensors and all actuators, and it should also have features which supports layman also. So that should be possible. Then only you can integrate all things and tell that IoT has been accomplished. As sir was telling that it's the era of IoT, and this is possible only if we travel towards a low cost implementation. So to perform this low cost implementation, we make use of Arduino here. So Arduino was took its place initiative in the Interaction Institute, Design Institute. And do you know where this institute is? Where it started? The word Arduino. Which country it started? Can you tell in chat? Which country it started? The word Arduino started in the country of Italy. Okay, Italy. You have this institute in Italy, and the word Arduino started its initiative in the place called Italy, aiming at students in such a way that even students without some background in electronics or programming will be able to perform some operations, something that is useful. Around they started in the year 2006 or 2007, but later on only they started to adapt technologies in such a way that it satisfies the current needs of processing, that is embedded system. And this was possible with the help of Arduino. So Arduino had its initial version. Initial version of Arduino was at Uno. Arduino Uno was started, and then Arduino Nanos got started, and then Arduino Leonardo got started, and then came Micro, and then all the Nanos, and then Arduino Wi-Fi. And, each had its own advantages, its own features, like something will support connectivity, something will support low power, even a AAA battery is sufficient to power up Arduino boards. So like this, the size, the change in the size and the change in its working, all these came into considerations with the help of IoTs. And Arduino has been supporting this capability. So Arduino is a microcontroller based on Atmega 328P, and it has 14 digital I/O pins. Out of this 14 digital I/O pins, 6 pins are PWM output. Okay, so 6 will be the PWM output. What do you mean by PWM means? It can be used as analog output devices. Okay, so out of 14 digital I/O pins, 6 pins can be used even to handle analog output devices. And then you have 6 analog inputs. Okay, you have 6 analog inputs, and then you have 16 megahertz clock frequency, and it has a USB connection and power jacket and ICSP header, and then the reset button. So these are the main parts of Arduinos. So when it say about digital, we have shown two diagrams here. So out of these two diagrams, one diagram is a switch and another diagram is clock or knob connectivity. So which one is analog and which one is digital? What about the first one? Switch is a digital signal or an analog signal? Is switch a digital or analog signal? You can post in chat. Is switch analog or digital? How many states are there in switch? Only two states are there in switch. If you take a switch, means it has only two states, on state and off state. So switch will be having only two states, on and off. So any device which has only two states is called as the digital device. So anything which has a switch or any some sensors, you have some sensors which has only two states. So all these comes under the digital devices. So it is a digital input device. And if you want to connect a LED, means it comes as under the digital output devices. So switch comes under the digital devices, where it is going to be a digital input device. And then analog means it is a varying factor. It is not always constant. Okay, either it doesn't have only two states. Okay, so even the intermediate value can be represented if you take an analog device. So that is the characteristics of an analog signal. So when you take a temperature sensor or a level sensor, where you're going to make the measurement of the way that you're going to steer a car. Okay, so these are analog. It does not two states available, like on state or off state. You have even intermediate state if you take the analog inputs. So you have analog inputs to be handled, analog outputs to be handled, and digital inputs and digital outputs to be handled. So these four factors, four parameters can be handled easily by a very simple programming knowledge with the help of Arduino. So it has flash memory, SRAM, and EEPROM memory. And this is how an Arduino will look. Okay, this is how an Arduino will look. So Arduino, if you see, means this point can be used to connect to the USB port. And if you want to power it with external power supply, in that case adapter, you have to make use of this junction, where you have a regulator, to regulate the voltage input here. And here, if you see, means Arduino, if you see, means, as you already told, that you have 14 digital pins. You'll be having 14 digital pins. So 14 digital pins will be starting from here to here. It is available at this end, starting from this end. So from 0 till 13. From 0 to 13, you have the 14 digital input and output pins. And then you have the analog pins. Analog pins A0 to A5. So A0 to A5 are the analog input pins available. And then here you have the power. Okay, power like 3.3 volts or 5 volts and ground. So all these power factors are available. Power pins are available here. And similarly, if you take, means you have 4 LEDs within that. You have 4 LEDs within the Arduino board. So out of this on LED is to represent whether the board is being active, power supply is being given to the board, and transmit and receive. The TX stands for transmit, RX stands for receive, and then L stands for an LED, where this LED is connected to the 13th pin, D13 of your Arduino. That is the 14th digital pin of your Arduino board. Okay, so D13 is internally connected to your L. And to write Arduino programming, the first thing is that Arduino programs are called as sketches. The coding which you use for Arduino is called as sketches here. And when you're going to use sketch as a function, okay, when you're going to use sketch in the setup, initially what they'll be doing is that you have to initialize the variable. Variables should be initialized, and then in pins, which mode you're going to use should be specified, and then you have to tell about the libraries. Okay, so that is all done within the setup. Okay, that is all done within the setup. So within the setup, you tell about the pin modes, and then you given the variables, and then you call some library functions also, like serial baud rate. Okay, at what baud rate you're going to transmit the signal. So that is possible here with the help of Arduino. So for the first initial setup for Arduino programming is that to specify about the setup. And the second part is to specify about the loop. Okay, so after telling about the setup here, next we specify, we call the function called as loop. where your setup is called only once. Your setup will be called only once, but when you take loop means it keeps on repeating those statements. Okay, those statements keeps on repeated. Whatever comes under the loop statement will get repeated here. So here loop is used to repeat some instructions, to repeat some functions. And then one more term which you must know while programming Arduino is that pin mode. Okay, you have to know about the pin mode. So we have different digital pins starting from digital pin 0 to digital pin 13 you have. So these digital pins you have to configure initially, telling whether it's going to be an input pin or an output pin. So that specification of the pin mode is done in the setup itself. So pin mode should be specified in the setup itself while calling a program, while calling or uploading a program. And then next thing is that delay. Normally, if you Siemens, if you take Arduino boards, they'll be working in terms of milliseconds. Okay, millisecond, microseconds. So in that case, you have to give a delay. You have to give a delay here. So when you have to specify a delay, if you want to specify a delay of say 1 second, in that case you have to tell as delay 1000, then only you'll be able to give a delay of 1 second. If you want to give a delay of say 5 seconds means I have to tell delay 5000. I have to tell delay 5000. So like this, specifications of delay has to be done while doing a program, because it will be executing faster. Okay. In microseconds it will be operating. So here to limit, but human beings can see information or correlated information only for any changes within 20 milliseconds. So you have to correlate in such a way that it will be suitable for human beings to understand the data. So here you have to specify data as either in milliseconds or in seconds. So for that, you make use of delays. So delay is important, pin mode is important, setup is important, and then looping is also important. The setup will be called only once and loop will be continuously called in your program. And we have 4 basic functions to see. I don't know whether we have time to see all the 4 basic functions today. Anyway, I'll try to complete at least 2 functions today, and tomorrow I'll continue with the remaining 2 functions. So first one is the digital read operation, and next one is the digital write operation, and next one is the analog read and the analog write operation. Okay. So these 4 are the different operations, basic operations that can be performed with the help of sensors and actuators. So sensors are going to acquire, if your microcontroller is going to acquire information from the sensor, and then it is going to whatever output, whatever action that has been taken will be dumped to your actuators. Okay. So here the first diagram which we have seen, it is connected to digital or analog. You have a LED here, you have a LED here. So this LED is connected to digital or analog in your diagram. Just see the diagram and tell. This is connected to ground terminal. This is also connected to D13. So D13 stands for digital or analog. You can put in chat. P13 is a analog terminal or a digital terminal. Okay, D13 is going to be a digital. It is a digital terminal, and so when you have to connect some LEDs, when you have to connect some LEDs to the Arduino board, you have to use only digital. Okay, you have to make use of digital points to connect the LEDs. So already if you Siemens, already I told that L already if you Siemens, your L is already connected to 13 internally. It is connected internally to L. 13th pin is already connected internally to L. But if you want to connect it externally, in that case you can even connect a LED like this. Okay, with the help of a resistor. you can connect a LED to 13 and the ground. 13 and the ground you can connect the LED, or you can connect to any other digital terminals, okay, like 7, 8, 6, 5, any terminal can be used. So accordingly you have to program it. So this is a digital write program where I call my setup and then I specify my pin mode. I'm using the 13th pin. 13th pin as output. LED is an output device. So I'm specifying that I'm making use of my 13th pin as output device. And after that, in my loop, I tell what I have to do. Here I'm going to blink the LED. I'm going to do the blinking operation of an LED. So I write 13 high first, digitally write 13th pin as high, that is on state, and then I give a delay of 1000 millisecond, that is 1 second, and then I write as low. I write as low, and then I give a delay of 1 second. So this keeps on repeating, like on off on off on off. It keeps on repeating the operation. So this is how the digital write can be programmed. Okay, so inside loop you have to do digital write. So this I'll show how to do in Proteus. This is my coding. Okay, this is my coding to blink my LED. If you want to see some examples, already many example programs are available. Okay, you can just make use of that. So go to file, go to examples, and under examples first download Arduino. It is open source software. You can download Arduino. After downloading it, just go to examples, files, examples, and then all basic programs are available. You can just open any one of it and then alter according to your requirement. So here I'm opened and I've written the same program which we saw now. That is, I've called a setup, and then pin mode 13 has been specified as output pin, and after that I'm calling the loop, and then I'm doing the digital write operation, writing as high, that is on state. I'm making the LED on and giving a delay, and then I'm making the LED off, and then again giving a delay, again on off. So it keeps on repeating this on and off state. Both gets altered, both gets
Ma'am,
toggled. Sir?
your screen is not updated. It's showing analog input only. You're
Okay.
showing the code or something?
Yeah, I'm showing the code only on my.
Code is not visible, ma'am.
Now is it visible, sir?
Yes, ma'am, visible.
Okay. So first we go to void setup, and then we tell about the pin mode, which pin mode we are going to use. Like here we are going to specify pin mode 13 as the output pin, because we are going to connect a LED to it. And then under loop I tell I'm going to do a digital write operation on my 13th pin. So for the 13th pin I do the digital write operation for high for 5 seconds, and then low for another 5 seconds. So again high for 5 seconds, again low for another 5 seconds. So this has to keep on repeating. This has to keep on repeating. So this we can program using the Proteus. Okay, this can be programmed using the Proteus also. So Proteus is a platform where you can develop your own coding and then convert the Arduino program coding to the hex file. So already you have to write the Arduino programming and then convert that program to a hex file, and that hex file can be dumped to the Proteus with the help of the library files. So before using Proteus, you have to install Proteus first, and after installing the Proteus, then include all the sensor library files. You have to include that in the C drive, and after that you'll be able to open all these Uno boards and then any type of Arduino boards, motors, and then LEDs. So potentiometers, all these can be included. So first what we have to do is that we have to open a new project. So under Proteus, you have to open a new project. Go to schematic capture, and after going to schematic capture, go to tools, pickup tools. Okay, pickup tools. You have to specify as Uno. Specify as Uno. So the Uno board will be available here. Press OK. Press OK button, and you can paste the Uno board in your schematic. Uno board in your schematic. I'm using a Arduino Uno board, so that can be pasted here, and then right click it and rotate it clockwise, and you can even zoom it. You can even zoom it and get a view of it. And now my Uno board is available, but I have to connect a LED to my Uno board. I have to connect a LED to my Uno board. So to connect a LED to the Uno board, LED has to be picked. Okay, LED has to be picked. So go again to the pick devices, specify as LED, specify as LED. So lots of LEDs will be available. I'm going to use LED red. Okay. So LED red, I can paste it here. Just right click it and you'll be able to paste the LED on the screen. So now we have to give the connection. You have to give the connection. So according to my hardware, I'm going to work with digital pins now, digital write. I'm going to do the digital write operation. So connect my 13th pin to LED, 13th pin to LED. At the same time, I have to ground it. I have to ground it. So go to terminals. Terminals will be available in the left side. Select ground and then place it here. Okay, place it here. So in this way, you can ground the LEDs. You can ground the LEDs. Now I have to, I've finished my connections. I've finished my connections. I'm just doing a simple programming like digital write and then checking whether it is working or not. So for that, again go to the Arduino window. And then go to file and then first compile it. Compile it. So this program, the LED glowing program which you have written, just compile it. Once you compile it, you'll be able to get a hex file. Okay, link for the hex file. So that hex file link, copy that link, and after copying that link, you have to paste that link in your Proteus window. So here in my Proteus window, I go to my Proteus window, I just double click my UNO board, and it asks for the program path. In the program path, just specify a program path and tell OK. Okay, tell OK. And now the left bottom corner, you have the option to run your Proteus, run the Proteus. Just select. Now you'll be able to see the LED glowing. Okay, LED is glowing. Now it is in the on state. D1 LED is on state. Now it has gone to the off state. So if every 5 seconds it keeps on blinking for every 5 seconds, on and off. Okay. So now if you want to change my program, say I'm going to make coding, but I'm not showing that on the screen. I'm changing it as very shorter duration, say 500 instead of 5000. I'm changing it as 500, and then I'm compiling it. And after compiling it, if I select that hex file and I paste, so stop running your program, and then select it and paste that hex file here. Now if I run it, the LED will be glowing at a faster rate because I've reduced my time delay as 500 instead of 5000. Okay, so for every 0.5 seconds, the LED turns on and off. Initially, it was turning on and off for every 5 seconds. Now it has been reduced as 0.5 seconds. So like this, before writing a program, and then directly working with the hardware, you can make use of Proteus along with Arduino software, and then create your own logic. Whichever logic you want to implement, create those logics. And after creating that logic, first test it in software whether it works properly, whether your condition is satisfied, how the conditions has to be done. So first test it using a Proteus software, and after testing it using the Proteus software, then you can go for working it with real hardware. So Arduino boards are very cheaper nowadays. You can buy Arduino boards at very low cost itself. Say you can buy it even for a rate of 1500. It is also possible. So this Proteus software gives you more and more idea about how to program Arduino boards. And next we'll see about digital read operation. Uh, so here digital read operation, if you see, means you have to read the pins. From your digital points. So like a switch will be on and off, on or off. So that has to be read. To read that, I have to give a connection like this. I have to give a VCC supply to my switch, and then a resistor to the ground, and a terminal has to be connected to the D2. Here I'm using the D2 pin. I'm using the D2 pin for the digital read operation. For digital read, I'm making use of a push button. I'm making use of the push button. That push button is connected to the second the digital pin. Okay, so I'm putting int push button 2, and then I'm making use of this setup. Under setup, I'll tell it's going to be a serial communication of 9600 baud rate, and then I tell push button to be the input. Push button is going to be input because it is a digital read operation. And I read my push button data inside my loop. And after reading the push button data inside my loop, I serially transmit this data, serially print that data to the terminal, hyper terminal. So that is possible. That this trying out a digital read operation is also possible with the help of Proteus. But since we have exceeded the time, I will continue this working how to interface Arduino with Proteus tomorrow. Okay, so tomorrow we'll continue with how to interface Arduino with Proteus, and then do some 3-4 programmings under this, and understand how this can be done, before dumping your program directly into the hardware. Okay, so with this I stop my presentation. If you have any doubts, you can ask. So since the time has exceeded 12:35, I'm stopping my presentation now. If you have any doubts, you can ask.
Yes, students, if you have any doubts, you can ask. No doubts? Ma'am, shall we wind up?
Okay, ma'am.
Thank you all for the session, for today's session. So we'll continue with the next session tomorrow at the same timing.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. share. Okay, okay. Okay.